A year ago, bringing up artificial intelligence at a family dinner was practically a guaranteed way to start an argument. But today, it's much more likely to start a competition over who knows the absolute best prompts. People are actively searching for the perfect chatbot to write their emails, breeze through homework, or just shave a few hours off the workday. So welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to break down how the incredibly high-stakes global AI competition between nations is actually shaping the apps right there in your pocket. Think of this as your user's guide to AI choices. Here's our agenda for today. We'll kick things off with the real AI race, and then look at two different finish lines. From there, we'll break down the cost and performance divide, compare polish versus deep integration, honestly examine the trade-offs you should know, and finally, reveal the ultimate winner. Okay, part one, the real AI race. Let's just go ahead and shatter the illusion that the AI race is only some abstract battle for politicians and tech billionaires. Because when we watch the news, this competition gets covered almost entirely as a story about advanced microchips, massive data centers, and national security. And hey, while that coverage is absolutely accurate, it's missing the most immediate part of the picture. On the ground, the reality looks completely different. Down in Nairobi, a traveler asking an Airbnb customer service bot a question is getting their answer powered by Alibaba's Qwen model. Over in Beijing, a shopper is ordering their daily milk tea directly through a chatbot, literally getting it delivered without ever opening a separate app. And in San Francisco, a 25-person tech startup just swapped its entire AI infrastructure over to a Chinese model overnight and watched its operating costs completely collapse. The really crucial point here is that none of these people are thinking about geopolitics. From a customer service bot in Nairobi to a startup in San Francisco cutting costs, everyday people are simply choosing the tool that solves their problem the best. Which brings us to section two different finish lines. So, to really understand why you have these specific choices in front of you, we have to realize that the United States and China aren't actually running the same race. Researchers at the Brookings Institution hit the nail on the head here. They point out that this is less a single race with one winner and more two countries pursuing totally different strategies. We really have to stop thinking about this as a traditional track meet where everyone is running towards the exact same ribbon. They're optimizing for entirely different finish lines. Let's actually put these two strategies side by side. American companies, we're talking OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, they are pushing the boundaries of raw intelligence. They're trying to reach AGI, artificial general intelligence. Conversely, Chinese companies are playing a completely different game. Their strategy is all about deep economic integration across manufacturing, logistics, public services, while making highly capable AI incredibly cheap through open weight models. And just to clarify, by open weight, we mean the core technology is freely available for developers to just download, modify, and run themselves. Now, a 2026 Boston Consulting Group analysis notes that the U.S. does maintain an overall lead in capital, talent, and raw computing power. But listen to this research output. China is driving a massive engine of innovation. They are producing roughly 33%, a full third, of the world's most cited AI publications, alongside generating the highest number of AI patents globally. It's just a huge research push, intensely focused on rapid, real-world adoption. All right, moving to section 3, the cost and performance divide. For you and me, everyday users and business owners, the first real impact of these strategies isn't necessarily encountering some super intelligent AI. It's dramatically lower prices. Premium US models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, they come at a higher cost, usually through recurring subscriptions, but by focus on hitting the absolute highest frontier benchmarks. Meanwhile, low-cost Chinese models like Moonshot AI's Kimi K3 and Zippu AI's GLM5 are offering highly competitive coding, reasoning, and software engineering performance at literally a fraction of the cost. And because they so often use those open-weight releases we talked about, developers can run these models on their own servers rather than paying ongoing endless fees. And because of this massive cost gap, businesses aren't just picking one single AI anymore. They're getting smart. They're strategically routing their workflows. It's basically a 3-step process now. Step 1, evaluate the complexity of the task. Step 2, send the absolute hardest, most brain-bending problems to the expensive premium frontier models. Step 3, route all the daily, routine grunt work to the lower-cost open-weight alternatives. AI is becoming way less about finding one perfect model for everything and way more about choosing the exact right tool for a specific job. Let's jump to section 4, Polish versus deep integration. Okay, but cost is only half the story, right? There's this fascinating user experience divide that completely changes how these apps actually feel to use on a daily basis. On the US side, we see immense polish.
American AI assistants currently offer the most refined standalone consumer experiences out there. We're talking incredibly mature software ecosystems, supernatural voice conversations, sophisticated image generation, and deep integrations with the Office software you already use. But on the Chinese side, the focus is entirely on deep integration. Companies like ByteDance with their Doubao AI aren't just making standalone chatbots. No, they're focused on seamlessly embedding AI directly into your daily digital routines. Shopping, making payments, accessing everyday services, you name it.
And the scale of this integration is just wild. Alibaba's Qwen, for instance, is trained across roughly 200 different languages and dialects. 200. That makes it incredibly attractive for global developers. Inside Alibaba's own ecosystem, you can search, order, and pay for products purely through direct conversation with the AI. And the competition to get users to adopt this behavior is so intense that companies are literally giving away free drinks, shopping vouchers, and massive discounts just to build the habit. Seriously, imagine getting a free coffee just for doing a web search. The goal is simple. Make talking to an AI as ordinary and frequent as pulling your phone out of your pocket.
Section 5, Trade-offs you should know.
Of course, any true user's guide has to impartially examine the caveats here. Independent evaluations have highlighted a few key differences you absolutely should know about when choosing between these ecosystems. First, low-cost Chinese models often lag a bit in safety measures against prompt injections and jailbreaks, which are basically just tricks users play to make the AI break its own rules. Second, they predictably avoid or redirect conversations regarding politically sensitive topics related to China. Now, while that might not matter at all if you're just writing code or drafting a marketing email, it's definitely a limitation to be aware of if you're, say, researching historical events. Finally, there are data privacy considerations. Many official Chinese AI applications process and store user data within China. Even when you're using open-weight versions hosted somewhere else, it's simply good practice to understand exactly where your data is being processed, regardless of which tool you ultimately choose.
And finally, Section 6, the ultimate winner, you.
So, with the US pushing the absolute limits of raw intelligence and China aggressively driving down costs while forcing daily integration, who actually wins this massive geopolitical standoff? Well, the effects ripple out pretty widely. Nations heavily involved in AI semiconductor manufacturing and supply chains like Taiwan, South Korea, Mexico, and Singapore, they are reaping huge macroeconomic rewards from all this global AI investment. But you know what? They aren't the only winners.
The biggest winner is likely you, the everyday consumer and professional. Because at the end of the day, competition creates better products. Every single time these two massive innovation ecosystems clash, prices fall, innovation accelerates. You get access to incredibly capable tools that would have seemed like pure science fiction just 3 or 4 years ago. Every single new capability popping up in your favorite assistant is, at least in part, the result of these two sides pushing each other to move faster and faster.
Which brings us to our final thought. Whether you're drafting a quick email, translating a document for work, or just planning your next vacation, this global competition is quietly working in your favor, bringing you better, faster, and cheaper tools. But I want to leave you with this question to consider the next time you open your favorite app. As this dual-track race speeds up and AI becomes deeply embedded into literally everything we do, are you actively choosing the best model, or is the global competition quietly making that choice for you? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Keep exploring and keep questioning the tools in your pocket.